Well, hello and welcome to the Bowtie Raised Bed Gardens here in the Joseph bed. We are going to do the raised garden bed tour. This is part 3 of 3. We've already done the front and side gardens, we've done the outer bed, and now we're going to go through these raised beds. And we have a bit more happening this month. It is May of 2023. Today is the 20th. And things are growing, things are happening, rain is happening, irrigation's happening, and things look promising. So we're gonna go through here and just go bed by bed like we always do. This is my own personal journal, so I do things in the same order every single time. I also index everything. You'll notice in the description there's an index with timestamps for various things throughout the tour, and I use these myself. In fact, I rewatch my videos from time to time to find out what happened when and what it should look like, and when do I need to get things out earlier, and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you're just stumbling along finding our channel, please subscribe. We do these every single month. Have done. This is our 14th month doing it. This channel is a little over 2 years old, but we've only gotten these garden tours in for the 14 months. So I'm counting our official launch date. What was it? March of last year, I guess. But anyway, neither here nor there. We are playing a little bit of a dodge game with the camera. It's overheating a little bit in the sun. It's only 85 degrees out here, and it's funny because sometimes it just wants to overheat, and we don't have the big tree up here anymore that casts a big shadow, which means things are growing a lot faster. In fact, the beans, I've got to show you the beans. This bean wall was not like that. It took another month after this before it started looking tall like it is now. It's growing across the top now. It is taking off. And I have a feeling that in 2 weeks when I get back to town, we're gonna have beans. So that's exciting. We'll take a closer look at that in a minute. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what we've got growing. There is some good stuff going. And we're gonna start with, the GreenStalk. If you saw the video with the GreenStalk that I did, we planted this up and having some failures, not the fault of the GreenStalk. I planted some lettuce seed that was not new. If I remember correctly, lettuce seed does have a tendency to go bad, kind of like onion seeds. If I'm incorrect in that, let me know in the comments below. But I think the lettuce seed has a shorter life. But anyway, the lettuce is having a hard time coming up. No big loss. When I get back from my trip, I'll try planting again. But to be honest, we're going to be heading into the heat of the summer, and I'm not sure I want to do that. I do have herbs coming up in there. Well, let's just take a look. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So these top 2 rows, I planted different kinds of lettuce and what is that? Yeah, different kinds of lettuce, and nothing has come up. We are coming into the heat of the summer, and either they succumb to the heat or they're just too old and not going to come up, which very well could be. However, if you look down here, we do have a spinach coming up. One. But that's all the spinach I think we have coming up. And then down lower, now this was a seed packet that my mom gave me actually about a year ago. It was an herb seed packet, and so I think we may have some dill and some thyme. I'm not sure what all we have here. It was kind of a random pack of herbs, but you can see there is some stuff growing really good in there. Some stuff kind of sparse. We're just going to see where this goes. And then down in the bottom, we have dill, which this is dill. Look at here. We're going to have some dill here. And this is cilantro. So the cilantro is coming up. It's starting to look like cilantro. Those are the cotyledon leaves, which look like a lot of other plants, look just like peppers, but you can see there's a true leaf right there. That's the cilantro leaf. So I'm excited to see that happening. I am planning on coming in here, one of these up, probably this level here, with a few strawberries I'm gonna pull out, 6 strawberries, and something else down there. But well, this is a work in progress. Now, one thing I did do, I did just put a tube in here, and it's been working pretty good. It's hooked to the irrigation. It's a 1/4-inch tubing, and I actually showed this on a video that you can watch and see how I did this. I hooked it in, I tapped it in down here to an existing irrigation head, and it's working. It's actually working. I did get the automatic watering thing from GreenStalk, but I'm very pleased with how this works, because I do turn this. I don't know how often I'm supposed to turn this, and what I do is nearly every single day I turn this about 1/3 of a turn. So every 3 days it gets a full rotation, and the sun it gets is mostly from that direction right there. The sun sets right over that direction, and so it gets kind of a good afternoon sun, real good afternoon sun. I've been monitoring the moisture in here, and it stays moist all the time. I just stick down my first knuckle and it's always wet, just that close to the top. I'm very pleased with that. Coming around here, and I leave this here. I was watering every single day, but I'm not going to be doing that until we plant out lettuce again. So it's doing good on its own. Bed number 1 though. Here we come to the Kajari melons. Now, look at those things going. I got a lot of male flowers. I have not seen any female flowers. You can tell, see, that's a male flower right there. You see that stem? It's just a stem. The female flower will actually have a little fruit, a tiny fruit right there. I'm actually surprised I don't have any even way up here, but eventually it's going to start putting out female flowers. Male flowers always come first. So those start shooting up, and then once it gets so far, then it'll start shooting female flowers somewhere up here. So give it about 3-4 more weeks and we'll start seeing female flowers in these Kajari melons. Now, in this little section right here, you'll notice we have a volunteer Principe Borghese tomato, and it actually will do pretty good here, but I have a shade cloth that's going to go over this portion here. It's going to actually go up to the peach tree. I'm probably going to fold that corner back, and we're going to cover this section over here. I don't know how the Kajari melon will fare, but it will be okay. It's a 50% shade cloth, and I'm going to be planting a few more tomatoes along the back over there. We got tomatoes at the end of the 3rd bed, but yeah, I'm going to put at least 3 more over here. So this is the ginger patch. All these little yellow flags is ginger, and hopefully these 2 will still show up. They are slow to show up. They're just slow to show up sometimes. These guys here were the more developed ones, and they were just jumping to get out. I did plant some that didn't look nearly as great, and so that may be these 2 here. I'm not sure. There is under here, now this is kind of interesting. I mentioned earlier in the first part, in fact, let me go get that book real quick. So Brian Lowell over at Next Level Gardening wrote this book, Companion Planting for Beginners, and I pre-ordered it. I got it. I am so happy to have this book. It really is Companion Planting for Beginners, and I actually keep this next to my seat on the couch and look at this frequently. I picked this book up more than almost any other book in the house at the moment. Maybe not the Bible, but pretty close. And he's got a lot of great information about things that go well in the garden. And one of the things that I actually knew, and he really covered in here pretty good, was nasturtium. And I've been experimenting with nasturtium, but nasturtium keeps snails away and slugs. And so last year, by now, my ginger was just riddled with holes from slugs and snails. Well, this year it's not, and I think it's because of that. Now, I do have some here, but I think this may be from something else. fact, that's looking really rough right there. But I'm very happy with having nasturtium randomly peppered throughout this bed. Now this Principe Borghese, I got to show you this side down here. This, and I did trim up the leaves on the bottom so it has airflow underneath there. And look at all the tomatoes. See if I can do this without knocking any off. But just tons of tomatoes coming up underneath here. So they're gonna be ready to go pretty soon. So yeah, very excited about that. I know Mrs. Bowtie is too. We like these tomatoes, these cherry tomatoes. So yeah, more ginger over here. These have just, like I said, just jumping up, just aching to get, they were aching to get out of the ground. And I mean, look at this thing. This is just a nice, heavy stalk. Still keeping that dollar weed at bay. Not as bad in these raised beds like it is in some places. But yeah. So ginger and a random Principe Borghese volunteer tomato, cherry tomato. We have here Suyo Long. You notice I have 4 here, and they are growing. Now let me tell you something. I have already eaten a cucumber. I did a little video on it. I think it may have been a short, but again, well, here we can see the male and the female flowers. Looky here. See this flower right here? There is just a tiny little stem right there at the base, yeah? And let's see if I can find another male flower. Here's another male flower. Just a tiny little stem right there at the base, okay? There's no fruit, but now this is what a female flower looks like. See, look, it actually has a little cucumber at the base of this flower right there. See that little cucumber? That's the female flower. Here's another female flower. So you ever wondering about the birds and the bees? Well, there they are. The bees are the ones that pollinate those female flowers when they come out, and because we have a bee box, they stay pollinated. And I'm going to just skip over this little section real quick and show you the other side. We have 4 more over here. We're gonna have a lot of cucumbers, but looky here. This is a cucumber, beautiful cucumber. And it's gonna be growing. There's another one right there. There's another male flower, oh, there's a little tiny, there's a female flower with a little itty bitty fruit. No, that's not a fruit, that's a male flower, sorry. So yeah, we're just watching for female flowers on these because they will start growing cucumbers. Very exciting. So on the other side here, we have a thyme plant just sitting here enjoying life. I planted that last year and it's really starting to take off. I love how it's flowing over the edge. I didn't realize it would do it that much in that small, from that small of a space, but it's doing. So I'm very pleased with that. So we come around here, well, there's blackberries up here, and we have picked a few. In fact, I see a blackberry down there right now, but we have picked a few blackberries. They are wonderful. They're flavorful. And this whole area over here is a okra patch. Planted 51 seeds. If you didn't see that video, go look at that video. I planted out 51 seeds all throughout here. I think 47 of them are coming up. Now I also have in here mixed in, not you. Oh, here's one. I have nasturtium mixed in to help keep the slugs down, and it's doing okay. You'll notice there's a little bit of slug eating over here. There was a nasturtium back over there, but I don't see it right now. Maybe it got eaten. But anyway, so yeah, I think we got 47 plants. Last year we had 20. We had a lot of nasturtium, a lot of okra last year. Oh, here's another nasturtium right there in the middle. So, but yeah, these are gonna start taking off. I have a net trellis that I'm going to put horizontally up here that will keep them growing straight up, hopefully. And yeah, that's the okra bed. That whole 12 foot by 4 foot right there is okra. Most of that is okra. Coming over here, oh, here's some more of that nasturtium in the corner here behind the Suyo Long cucumbers. Boy, this sun is just eating my lunch. But some more nasturtium. We have above the nasturtium, I cannot believe that we have volunteer marigolds, and these are marigolds from last year. These are from seed that I deadheaded from last year, and so I need to run some tubing up here so that this thing can get a little water, because there is no water up here. So yeah, that's very exciting. Okay, so that's the end of bed number 1. Coming in here between the beds, we have a volunteer Nasturtium, which I think, not a Nasturtium, that's a Zinnia, which I am so excited about. We have our Turmeric, and this thrills me to no end because this is really growing strong, and it's looking good. It's got a nice heavy stalk on it. It doesn't get enough water, I can tell already. I'm gonna have to fix that, but yeah, we got Turmeric coming. Very excited. The peach tree is growing thick with a lot of water shoots, so I don't know how to keep the water shoots from not popping out here so prolifically. It's been a little concerning to me. So if you have any comments, please let me know. I'm looking forward to more of the tree trimming video from Anne of all trades that I'm very excited to see the next episode of. Her friend Dan is very well informed, and he's a good instructor. So anyway, look in the description for a link to her video. Now this is the Brussels sprouts that I have been watching for for over a year and 3 months now. They never gave fruit, and the reason why they never gave fruit, I finally concluded, was because they were underneath the big oak tree. And so now they've got full sun. It was about the time they started to get full sun that they really started to shoot out. And they've already had their first year, which they didn't produce. So they are going to flower. And you can see here, I'm gonna let this go to flower because I wanna collect seeds from this thing. So yeah, gonna collect seeds. My phone overheated yet again. So anyway, gonna collect seeds from this. I am gonna probably end up pulling out that plant and lowering this trellis and filling this in so I can get my Kajari melons in over there. We'll have to see how that happens. So here in bed number 2, we have our bean wall, and I am so excited about this because it is going strong. You know, we had the big old tree shading over this, and it kind of grew slowly last year. I thought that was how fast beans grew. Well, they're growing like twice as fast this year. So I don't know what's going to happen over here. This is going to be nuts. But we already have blooms on here. These things are just, oh, so exciting. Shooting up like crazy. So last year they were not that high at this time. In fact, I don't think they got up there until late June. So maybe a month from now. On the back side of this bean wall, you'll notice we've got some tomato cages and some stakes here. I'm getting ready to plant up some our peppers in here, and I'm a little excited about that. I'm hoping the beans will allow them to survive. Now last year I had tomatoes, the beans in the middle, and then tomatoes on the other side, and that was just too much in this bed. Those beans went crazy. So I'm hoping that we can do peppers in here, and they will do better than tomatoes in here, and I'm hoping that the beans will just give them the space they need to grow there. And that was the point at which I was going to go record another video, but to tell you the truth, the way the sun is and the way the camera is overheating, I think I better just continue on. So this sunflower got picked for Mrs. Bowtie's desk, but if you'll notice, we already have new sunflowers coming up in the bottom of each of these leaves. So this thing's going to start bushing out and making more sunflowers. We had a little onion patch back here that we planted out when we planted out this tomato bed, and we are of course underneath the shade cloth on this side, but the onion patch that was here completely failed, disappeared. There was nothing there, and I'm not sure why, so I'm trying it again. I have a lot of spares, but some of these is already starting a little bit of bulbing, so I'm hoping these do well. It's good fluffy soil in there. This is the Stay Green garden soil, and it does I find that it does pretty good for me. So I am saving this trellis for a couple of super sweet 100s cherry tomatoes, and those are yet to come out. But that right there is an Everglades tomato, as is that. I put them in a tomato cage, and I forgot those things are indeterminate, which means they're going to grow vine up and up and up, which means I need those things growing up a string. So I will be changing those over to string instead of what they are now. So as I mentioned in the last video, the sun is trying to hide behind some high wispy clouds at the beginning of our daily storm system, subtropical storm system, but it's not quite happening yet. So I am holding a piece of paper up over my phone, heavy paper, and I wanted to just talk a little more about these Everglades tomatoes. They are indeterminates. They're going to grow with a single vine up a string. And we have these first off, the lower branches, you want to keep the lower branches clean of all the excess stuff. And you don't want, you can see they're getting a little bit eaten by snails or slugs or whatever. And so you want some airspace down here to where they cannot climb up there. There's even one down here. No, there's not. So that's pretty clean. So we're going to keep the bottoms of these clean. That's going to encourage it to grow up. I don't think I'm going to cut that. Oh yeah, there's a little one down here. There we go. Okay, good enough. So yeah, both of these Everglades tomatoes need to be cleared up like that because they are indeterminate, which means they grow and grow and grow until the weather gets them, basically, or blight or whatever typically gets your tomatoes. So I don't have any, oh, I do have flowers. I do have flowers up here. So these things will be creating tomatoes pretty soon, but you just want to keep these lower ones off the ground, and you want them to have good airflow through here. So there we go. That's good. Both of them look about the same now. So that basil plant, I've been clipping off the basil plants just to keep them more bushy. We haven't used any basil yet, but we will for something. We'll be giving some away also. But that's bed number 2. Can't wait to get these super sweet 100s up. Those are prolific producers, and we're going to just let them grow right over this arch trellis. So after bed number 2, we have, what we had was the Aloe Patch, and this thing had literally hundreds of aloe until this past winter when the freeze killed a lot out. I went ahead and mowed a path through here. Mrs. Bowtie is going to be taking care of the garden while I'm gone, and so I wanted to make sure she had a good clear place to walk without having to worry about snakes. It is still a little brushy over here, but I'm not going to do anything in there. There's a lot of aloe in there that I want to just take off as best as it can. So bed number 3, that brings us around here to the pepper bed, and this is my very happy place. Look at that jalapeno, that big old fat jalapenos down here. They're not, these are not very long. There are some long ones in here, but not on this plant. We have Tabasco on here. You can see some Tabasco peppers growing. I tried one yesterday. It's not very hot yet, so I'm going to let this go until after I get back. We have over on this side, we have, and I'm going to go up this side a little ways, but you can see we have Scotch Bonnet, and we have some sizable ones in here somewhere. Oh, here's one. There's a sizable Scotch Bonnet right there. That's a thing of beauty. There's another one right behind it. Yay. Giant, Chinese giant bell pepper. Another tiny giant bagged right there. There's one down here that's bagged. I need to tie this branch up so it doesn't fall. There is mixed in here a jalapeno. A couple of jalapeno, big jalapenos. This is where the big jalapenos are, up in this section. Here's a golden cross growing. In fact, you can see one down here turning orange, or yeah, orangish. It's going to be, as soon as that's done turning orange, we'll harvest that. Peri Peri. You see there's a Peri Peri. Oh no, yeah, I think that's a Peri Peri growing right there. In fact, there's a lot of Peri Peri. There's a, okay, let's get around to the other side because this is the story. So this is a Peri Peri plant. Very hot peppers, okay? Look how prolific this thing is. It's beautiful. I can't get over how well they're doing. Just prolific. Below here we have a shishito. And I hope you saw the short of me eating a Peri Peri. We thought the shishito is not a hot pepper. In fact, it's a nice pleasant eat. You saute it a little bit in some olive oil and dip it in aioli sauce, and it is just a nice pleasant snack, really. And we have some nice shishito peppers in here. See how that looks? Ah, come on, get out of there. See how that looks? So I got very excited one day and looked under here and saw a ton of what I thought was shishito peppers. Well, that's not a, it's thick under here. That's not a shishito pepper, that's a Peri Peri, which tends to be very hot. It looks similar, a little bit different, but it looks very similar. And I picked a whole bunch of Peri Peri, and Mrs. Bowtie grilled them up, and she bit into a few, and they were not pleasant, to say the least. So yeah, that was my bad. That was my ADD brain, got so excited I didn't even think about what I was seeing. I just started pulling peppers. I have to be careful because we got a Peri Peri right next to a shishito here. Not a good combination. But there's just tons of Peri Peri through here, big ones. There's a Fatali under here. These will start turning yellow. These are very hot ones. They grow a little bit bigger than that. Another orange bell under here. This has got a few orange bells on it. And that other Scotch bonnet was there. We have another Scotch bonnet here, and it's gonna start turning pretty soon. These things are looking beautiful. Can't wait to ferment some of those for my hot pepper sauce. There it is. Having a hard time see. Oh, I can see dozens in there. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, there's at least 2 dozen in there. That is a prolific producer. There's some jalapeno in here. Look at how big these jalapeno are growing. That's looking good. Nice big jalapeno. Coming down here to the end of the other end of the peppers. I think this is another jalapeno here. Let me double check. Look how big those are. Oh, I'm sorry. These are Peri Peri. Yeah, of course they are. These are Peri Peri. Kind of small plant for 2 big peppers. I need to pick those so it'll start producing more. We have a habanero over here. No, back over there, I think. Yeah, that little thing over there is a habanero. And this thing right here, I think it looks like a Fatali. Yes, this is a Fatali. No peppers on it yet. The Fatali are a little slow incoming. There's the beginning of a bud right there. So yeah, Fatali are super hot. I mean, they're hot as the Peri. No, they're hotter than Peri Peri. So past the pepper bed, we have the garlic, which is starting to fail. It doesn't look as bad as the garlic we saw in part 1 in the grow bags out front, but it's kind of petering. It will be harvested in time. So, and that brings us down to the end of bed number 3. the rest of the tomatoes. And we have some Principe Borghese coming in really strong. These are 3 cherry tomatoes. They're looking beautiful. I did feed all these. You'll see a video coming out on feeding plants that have blooms going. These are, there's a Nebraska Weddings here. This one here is, what is this? That's Nebraska Wedding. That's something else over there. I can't remember. I am still saving space on this side as well for the Super Sweet 100s to grow over the trellis. Probably put 2 on there, 2 or 3 on there of the Super Sweet 100s. So the very last thing on the raised garden bed tour is this goji berry bush, and I was saving some goji berries and I don't see them anymore. Saw them like 2 days ago. Oh, there they are. You see we got some little goji berries growing here, but look at all the blooms. This thing is coming out like crazy. So here in a little bit, we're gonna have goji berries. I'm gonna try a harvest this year. Tons and tons of flowers. So that's very exciting. Anyway, that is the garden beds. Watch out for a lot more videos about things going on in the garden. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact schedule of what's coming out. This time of year has been so crazy that it's been just, okay, what can I get out today? And just trying to get stuff out as best I can. Trying to just take you along for the journey and what I'm learning. But anyway, we just had an interruption from our, a welcome interruption from our local honey bee whisperer, Jeff Chesser, and he took a box of honey and put an empty box on. So we will be, they will be actively making more honey over the next few weeks. He says 2 or 3 weeks and he'll come back for another one. But he said, judging by the weight, it was probably close to 3 gallons of honey in a single box. Wow, that's amazing. So anyway, if you're still watching, thank you for watching. A full watch on a video is beneficial. According to the Google algorithm, a subscription is even more beneficial, I think. And thumbs up and sharing the videos helps as well. More that we come together as a community, the better we can build our community up. And I'm not talking about just the Bowtie Life community. This is just a small part of the overall growing internet community of gardeners and homesteaders out there that are sharing everything they're doing in the hopes of inspiring and teaching and spreading pollen allergies. I think that was probably smoke from the smoker. But yeah, so it's been an exhausting day. Recorded 2 videos. I'd like to get 1 more video recorded if the clouds will hold off out for me. I don't know that it's going to rain, but we're getting some of those wispy clouds, and maybe I can get these peppers planted up in bed number 2 and get that video out here pretty soon. But by the time this comes out, probably beginning of June 1st or 2nd, I can't remember. But yeah, it's exhausting out here. Not used to the heat yet. But anyway, that's the raised garden beds, the Joseph bed, the GreenStalk, pepper beds, the beans. Things are growing like crazy with the big tree gone this year. Wow, I can't get over that. We got budding tomatoes everywhere. By the time I get back 2 weeks from now, we're going to be seeing some real progress. Hope that wasn't a bee. But anyway, I'm sweating, so they feel the moisture. They detect the moisture, and they come to drink the moisture from me and sting me. Oh yeah, I think I did get stung. Did I? I can't tell. Anyway, this is my personal journal, and you're invited to come along We put these garden tours out every month, and at the end of every month, and just showing the progress in the garden for the month. Also put out almost a video a day. Well, I put out videos almost every other day, but I put out more days than there are in the month. Put more videos than there are days in the month. Obviously, I'm getting tired. I can't spit out my words slow enough. But, oh, there's a cardinal over there. We've had a family of cardinals here living in our garden. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go inside and cool down for a while before I try planting up. Hopefully there is a cloud cover coming over here in our normal afternoon. We've seen this most days for the past few weeks. At least 2 weeks, I know. I think maybe 3 weeks, but here about middle of the afternoon, it starts with this cloud cover coming and storm systems coming from over there. But like I said in the end of the previous video, it comes over from the bay, and most of the time it dissipates from over the bay. So if it does, then I'll have some pepper plants planted out, and you might have another video to watch if you want. But please do, please subscribe, please stick around, and thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a blessed day.